Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's busy, by the looks of it, episode of Live at the Waterhole. We are starting here at the pumping El Doño up in Kenya. Look at the biomass in this image we've got here. We have got and we have, of course, got some elephants. It's all happening here. My name is Kelly. I'm delighted to be back with you today. I'm going to be here for the next couple of hours, cruising and cruising to see what we have going on. Please do remember that we are live and very much interactive. We love hearing from everybody out there. It's an absolute pleasure to know where everyone is and what everyone is up to today. So please do get in touch. You can either send us a WhatsApp on X at Wild Earth, on Facebook Wild Earth Live, on Instagram Wild Earth Official, or of course on our YouTube channel at Wild Earth. You are all very, very welcome. I know you have all been having some quiet time. So I'm going to attempt to limit my ramblings today. I do not want to be too much of an onslaught to your ears after all the peace and quiet that you've been enjoying recently. Oh look, is this my... It's not mine. Look at this, I know this boy. I'm fairly sure I know this elephant who stood in the middle of this pan. Look how low the water is in there. I'm sure it's because everyone has been here. But this little bull elephant has got completely beat up, and he almost always stands in the middle of that pan there, much to the dismay of this giraffe that's desperately trying to get down there and have a drink. Hello Hannah, thank you very much for being here. Long time no here indeed. Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to be back having a look at these cameras and sharing them all with everyone else that's out there. And look, there's all these giraffes in here. Look, there's a third one going to go down and drink. This is quite unusual to see, but I think of all the giraffes I've ever watched, these giraffes are some of the most tolerant of other animals while they drink. There is probably no choice for them. As we always say, animals adapt to their surroundings, and you've got to drink when you've got to drink, and if you've got to duck down underneath an elephant, then so be it. Nathan, you're asking, what benefits do giraffes gain from elephant disturbed water? And vice versa. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I would have thought, nature being nature, if there were any benefits of giraffes drinking elephant disturbed water, then we would more regularly see them in and having a paddle before they drank. I don't know, there could be maybe some element of getting extra minerals from any soil or something that's been disturbed by elephants, but if any animals gained from having muddy disturbed that elephant said no. Let those giraffes separate and elephants all drinking in that tiny little puddle at the same time. Nathan, I would have thought that if animals regularly benefited from drinking disturbed, turbid water, then we would see them jumping in and out of it more often before they drank. Oh, why are these elephants leaving? What's going on here? Yeah, I think this one that's just coming at the back here is maybe a little bit cranky, which is why the others left. Nia, That's a good question. You're asking, why do elephants often arrive at waterholes first and dominate the best drinking spot? Define first. It's normally a fairly steady stream of animals at pans, and elephants come and elephants go, and zebras come and zebras go. Maybe it's just what we're seeing on these cameras, on the screens. They certainly can dominate the areas they are drinking in, but they dominate the best drinking spots because they're the best drinking spots and they're the biggest, would be my definition of that. Because they're elephants and because they can. I often say that about elephants. Why did the elephant push the tree over? Yes, possibly getting to the nice green shoots at the top, or maybe trying to feed on the nutrients down there in the roots. But I've seen elephants push trees over and walk away. And why did it do it? Because it can. Yes, Musonda, you're asking, are those eland amongst the herd? Yes, they are. There's also some eland in here as well. We have a whole plethora of species interacting here, probably not by choice. I have never seen, I've seen giraffe and zebra will sometimes hang around together, not for any perceived reason, not sort of a resource-based reason anyway. They believe it helps with spotting predators, or you will sometimes find them associating. I've never seen eland and zebra intentionally hanging out together. But then again, I haven't spent too much time watching eland, so maybe there is a some sort of relationship there. But I think they're all here for the water, Musonda, to be honest. And you got, like I said, you've got to do what you've got to do. You need a drink, you've got to take that chance. And yeah, these giraffe, I've never known giraffe to get in there and drink so quickly. They walk in, they stuck their heads, they drink. Much more common that I've seen for giraffe to spend ages loitering and thinking and pondering and loitering and stopping and starting. But I would love to know more about that detailed lay of the land, of the landscape here. But I would assume from the behaviour of the animals that we see here, there isn't vast amounts of water, because if there was in my opinion, if there was another waterhole, maybe 1 kilometre away or half a kilometre away, and there was so regularly elephants here, these other animals would pick an easier one. Look at that eland with his back to the elephants. Oh, it's busy here today. Ros in George. Hello, Ros in George. Thank you very much for making contact. It's a pleasure to have you here. You're saying, welcome back. Please continue to chat away. I will try and curtail it a little bit, Ros. Sometimes these 2 hours can pass, and I've literally been talking for 2 hours solid. Eureka. Let me get the taxon. They're not mountain zebra. There are subspecies of plains zebra, I think. I think these are Grant's zebra. Let me just, I'm looking left to try and see my taxonomic breakdown. I think plain zebra, and then underneath plain zebra there's two sort of subgroups of Grant's zebra and Birchall zebra, I think, Roz, but they're, sorry, Eureka, they're definitely not mountain zebra. I saw another new graphic come out recently about more subspecies breakdown, taxonomic research classifications around giraffe. It's fabulous that science moves so quickly. I can get very lost down rabbit holes in various papers and findings and research. Nature, but I'm actually in a brilliant group of shame, where people often post new research that's been published or developed, and with my canine stuff as well, you see one piece of information and then that slides you into the next one, and then you go, ooh, I wonder about this, and then you end up in the next paper and the next paper and the next article. Only a happy hour has been spent reading and rereading some of these amazing research papers that are published. Elaine Grant, this is indeed a wonderful sight. It's very, very busy here today. And we're getting an opportunity to watch my favourite thing, which is behaviour. How species are interacting with one another, how they're interacting with different species, trying to work out why something is happening. See this elephant here on the left has only got one tusk, and it looks like it does definitely look like it's snapped. This elephant on the furthest left of your screen, you can just see that tip poking out there from that root area, and that could be potentially incredibly painful. Derek Shearer, hello Derek Shearer, thank you for being here. You're asking, does the water dams ever dry out? Is there other water for animals? Most of the water points that we have cameras on, don't quote me on it, there's a lot of cameras now, well up into the 40s, if not even more now. Most of them are on pumped water holes. So this is a pumped pan. Humans put water in here. There's over to the far left of the screen, there's a sort of, I'm not sure if it's a solar pump or what it is. So humans keep this water present. Sometimes water in some areas will dry out. It is nature's way of regulating animal movement and animal populations. And it's one of the reasons that this pan is so busy so frequently, and I think, Derek Shearer, that there's possibly not any other super close by natural pans, because if I was a giraffe I would not want to be drinking that close to an elephant, put it that way. And this is the only place I've ever seen this happening. So many species all actually, I've seen species loitering and waiting, but to actually get their faces down and drink at the same time as others, this is probably, and it's small. This pan is not big. You know, we had that horrendous incident where the elephant did smack a giraffe, and that tells me that there's probably not much other water around. Mercedes Bean, hello Mercedes Bean. Thank you for being here. You are saying greetings Wild Earth crew and chatters, and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too. It is indeed Saturday. It's Saturday the 7th of February already. And it's 11:15 here in South Africa. Thank you for being here, Mercedes. Thank you for hopping in. I'm glad you could join us. It's lovely to have you here, and it's today. We will leave this vast amount of biomass. Let's scoot over to Serendella. I think we might have a hippo. Founders. Okay, we're actually going to Founders. Let's have a look and see what we have got across at Founders. Wow, okay, another mixed species image for us. A glorious, glorious sable bull and some snoozy rhino. Again, I love the way these species or different species are able to interact often so peacefully with one another. There's, you know, minimal competition, minimal threats, and everyone just sort of hangs out and often utilises each other's skill set to keep themselves safe, which is very, very useful. Mr. Elemental, hello Mr. Elemental, thank you for being here and joining us, and it's a delight to be back. I'm glad I got to see my favourite little elephant there at Old Donio. Oh look, there's lots here. Mr. Even Tusks, let's call him that. Ari, good morning to you too. Ari, you're saying hello to me and to FC. You are in the Netherlands. Joining us from the Netherlands. You are very welcome. And Dark Main Lover, hello Dark Main Lover. Thank you for joining us. These sable looks like they might be moseying off. Always a joy to have these sable to watch those. Many people's, you can just see those. Is that sable horns at the back there? Oh no, it almost looks like there's something curved in the image. There's more. Oh, it was actually that curvy thing there, a sable horn or maybe it's bark. Can't quite tell. Many people quoting the sable as their favourite antelope. Yeah, that is a sable horn. Is it going to move? That curvy thing there, just it looks like it's curving out the tree. It's very still if it is a sable. But yeah, or it's their favourite antelope. They are absolutely glorious. My favourite antelope's a clip springer. Just to be different. But lovely to have you with us, Dark Main Lover. You're saying hello and welcome back. So happy to have you as our host on Live at the Waterhole. I'm so happy to be here, Dark Main Lover. It's an absolute pleasure. Omar, you are asking, are sable antelope more water dependent than many other antelope? I haven't spent much time with sable. I know Hemsbok are super not water dependent. I guess they're somewhere in the middle. Some of the smaller antelope are less water dependent. I'm thinking they're about the same size as Hemsbok, but of course oryx have those amazing adaptations for desert life. I'm trying to think of a sable's normal distribution pattern, if that would be in a particularly water. I've never worked in a reserve with lots of sable that I've spent time watching, so I don't really know how often they drink. So the frequency with which they're required to drink would determine how water dependent they are. I think they're probably somewhere in the middle, Omar. I don't get the impression that they're super water dependent. But I could be wrong. I don't actually have my behaviour Bible in front of me, and I always say I don't cheat. I would say waterbuck are probably the most water dependent, maybe Hemsbok the least water dependent, and everyone else sits somewhere along the middle, I guess.
Did you know that 90% of Madagascar's wildlife exists nowhere else on Earth? The Indri's haunting howl echoes through misty rainforest, a sound we will never forget. Travel east where lemurs soar through emerald canopies and coral reefs shimmer beneath turquoise seas. This isn't just a journey. It's a once-in-a-lifetime wildlife adventure I'd like to take you on. Join me, James Hendry, on this exclusive island safari.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Wow, that's amazing, everybody.
We'll see you there.
Oh, have a look at this. Wow, wow, wow.
I don't know where to look. This is too astounding for words.
Unreal. This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
Nature is just everything.
We will be extending the show by a few minutes.
A fascinating animal that kind of draws people to it.
We'll see you out on the safari.
In a book, so if anyone else out there wants to give feedback on how water, know how my gut is, that they are not super water dependent. I could be completely wrong. Pixie Willow, thank you for being here. It is glorious, absolutely glorious, especially to see all those different animals there at Aldonio together. Very, very special. You're in Windsor. You're lying in bed in Windsor, England. I think this time of year, Pixie Willow, you are playing it completely right. I know Windsor relatively well. I've spent some time there. And I think bed is probably the best place to be on a Saturday morning in freezing cold England. Oh, okay, I've got some feedback here. Turns out... Okay, I'm not sure where this has come from, but I've just been sent. Sable antelope are significantly more water dependent than many other more drought resistant African antelope species. Are considered dependent on surface water. That's me told, but good information. I'm just going to quickly swap my mic over. I was trying a new technique which is not working, so just give me 30 seconds and I will come back to you with a different mic. This microphone is better. I do hope so. Diego, you're asking, how do kudus assess an opponent's strength? Often visually. They will often display to one another before they make physical contact. You would be a very foolish kudu if you could see that another bull was clearly bigger than you and you decided to try anyway. Oh, there is some fighting going on here. Yes, Diego, so I would have thought firstly they would assess using visual clues. If one bull is much bigger and stronger than the others, then they are probably going to give it a skip. And then if they have assessed that they might be in with a chance, they give each other a bit of a shove. Just like you were doing. They will often, I was watching these two, they will often drop their heads and sort of not really go for it. Animals don't want to, or in this situation, they don't really want to necessarily kill each other or injure each other or themselves, more to the point. And if they can settle disputes with minimum damage, then they will do so. If these two boys, see that they're just sort of moving backwards and forwards, and often once they've said that, okay, this guy is stronger, I'm gonna rather leave it, which could be what just happened there. But I would guess if these were fighting a little while ago, then no resolution has been made. It's quite common for it doesn't even necessarily have to be a fight and a completion, really. Often animal relationships are fluid and ongoing. Their statuses can change within a group. They vary depending on season, breeding availability. They don't often, maybe for the time being, they'll have a fight and go, right, okay, you've won for now, and then, a week later or something, it might continue on. Animals are not as black and white as humans are. We are back at Founders. Our sable have gone, and they've been replaced by some giraffes. Now let's watch the difference, in my opinion, in the behaviours of these giraffes here at Founders compared to our giraffes that we were just watching at Aldonio. See, look, this giraffe is watching those rhinos. Are you going to get up? Are you going to get up? Hankwani, you are in Centurion in Pretoria. Thank you so much for joining us from Pretoria. Good morning to you too. I'm glad you're enjoying the show, and I'm glad you tune in when you want to be close to nature. It's definitely an excellent nature hit. I haven't actually spent as much time outside as I would like recently. I've also got some information. Sable drink about once every 24 hours, verified on many game counting sessions in Wangi National Park, generally at the same time each day. So winter months they come and visit the waterhole about the same sort of time. So yeah, once daily drinking is considered water dependent. So there we go. Thank you very much for the feedback information. But yes, I like to be honest and ask someone else to look something up, so you know if something comes out of my mouth live, I am not cheating. But as I always say, this is a discussion, not a lecture. I love learning while I do this. The day, oh, really? Did you have to sit that close? The day you think you know everything is the day you should maybe give up. There's always something to understand. Look at this giraffe watching this rhino. There's always something to understand better, dig deeper, make progress with. Craig Jennings, thank you. You sent information. Craig Jennings, I appreciate it. I'm often loath to trust many information resources now. It's an absolute minefield out there of misinformation, and all these various AI resources that often do not get it right. I have established that other resources or information sharing platforms are incorrect. I had a long discussion with a AI thing recently about the identification of a lizard, and they gave me 4 lizards after that. I knew it was not, and every time it said, "Oh yes, sorry, thanks for correcting us." So yeah, I trust nothing anymore. Books and papers is my go-to these days. Jeb, you are asking, do giraffe ever sit in water? I have never seen a giraffe sitting in water. That does not mean a giraffe do not sit. But that does not mean it doesn't happen. And this is one of the amazing things that I would throw it out there. Has anyone ever seen a giraffe sitting in water on these cameras? I think that would probably be the one of the best ways of starting to observe things that aren't normally observable, whether or not. I've seen giraffes sitting, they do sit. If you've ever seen a giraffe sitting in water, please let us know on any of these methods. I would love to know if you have. But I've never seen it. But that absolutely does not mean to say it doesn't happen. And these amazing cameras are incredible for gathering information that otherwise wouldn't be possible. Some of the behaviours or some of the animals that are normally shy or nervous, and behaviours that wouldn't be seen. One of my favourite things is watching terrapins on these cameras. You get so close to these terrapins. We're never quite sure which ones they are, marsh or serrated hinged. But it's really unusual for terrapins to stay relaxed and sitting on rocks. If you are present in person in a vehicle, they go and off they've gone. But with these cameras, there is zero disturbance, so we get to see stuff exactly as it would be if we weren't there, because we are not there. Vicky, that's a really interesting question. Have I ever seen interspecies fighting between antelope? I'm looking left again. I'm just digging around in my memory bank. So that's a really interesting question, though, Vicky. No, I don't think so. I've seen them sort of shush each other away or have a little bit of a chase, but actual sort of prolonged fighting, no, there wouldn't really be. Like I said earlier, animals don't really want to avoid dying, and fighting has the potential to produce injuries which can incur death, unfortunately. And there's a big kudu bull and a big waterbuck bull have no reason to. They drink from the same places. They don't. It would be, even if you had two browsers. There's a lot of trees. Why would they risk injury, potential death over a white berry bush or something? just go to another white berry bush. And there is no reason that a waterbuck bull and a kudu bull, so similar-ish, sort of size-ish, both have big horns. They've got no reason that one of them might go, you're too close, and the other one would go, okay, I'll move away. But that is probably all I've seen. Jen? Jeb, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was Vicky. Sorry, apologies. We've got lots of questions coming in today. Thank you so much, everyone. It's appreciated. So, no, I've never seen it, Vicky. Again, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But the risk of injury probably outweighs the benefits of interspecies fighting. I think we just said we were going to Serendella, but let's see where we go. I'm a bit out of practice of listening to things. Lovely. I'm so glad this hippo is here. I've enjoyed this hippo. He often lays on his side like that, but I've grown a little bit fond of this hippo. The amount of times I've seen him pushed out and shoved out and asked to exit by other animals. He's looking very happy and very comfortable here right now. Grant, you are asking, sorry, I was slow. If a crocodile arrived here, would they remove it? I don't know, Grant, is the answer to that. All of these areas have different wildlife management policies. I don't know what the ecologists would decide on whether or not a crocodile would stay or go. Wow, that is a incredible statement. Since you started watching this channel, you even forgot you're a big soccer fan. Now that is a resounding endorsement. Soccer or football fans can be heavy into their sport, forsaking all else. So that is a resounding endorsement, Rudd. Excellent to hear. I am not a soccer stroke football fan. People often ask me what team I support because I'm originally from the UK, and I do not. I'm happy to watch if it's a good game of football. I'll watch it if I must, and I can appreciate good football compared to sloppy football. But what a resounding endorsement for nature that is. Thank you for sharing that as well, Rod. It's appreciated. Mr. HUAE, you've seen giraffes drink at El Doño at night. Yeah, there's so many things we see on these cameras. And LEPR, you're saying, is there anything on Earth being completely impossible? I'm increasingly, the longer I've been in nature and studying behaviour and watching animals and watching cameras, the less inclined I am to say anything as a solid yes or no, because I've been proven wrong. And I'm sure you all notice I often, if someone says, would a giraffe ever eat, I don't know, an impala or something, I'd probably say they wouldn't have the ability to kill it because of their, they've got the wrong dental structure, but blah 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 blah, and you go around and around and around because you just never know. People didn't think that hippos had ever been recorded eating anything other than grass, and then people thought that there was no records of them feeding on anything ever in the water. It was only outside, and then people find this, and then people find this, and people watch this. So yeah, I dance around giving any solid yes or no's. We can give good guesses or reasonings, but you can guarantee the second someone said, someone could say, can hippos breathe underwater? I can say, No, because they have a specific lung structure. That means they need to breathe air. Look, you can see those bubbles coming out his nose. But yeah, it's and especially with the amount of information at people's fingertips these days, you are going to get called out or corrected, or nature is going to prove us wrong on a very regular basis. Oh wow, Mr. HUA Lantoro Lodge yesterday was a caracal and lions. It's incredible. I saw a few caracal in Madikwe. We had a couple of good caracal sightings. There was a relaxed one that was actually used to often, well not often, would sometimes be seen around Tau at that waterhole. But I can count, other than that, I can count my caracal sightings on one hand. But because of these this water's actually low, considering how much rain we had in this area. This water has dropped significantly. I'd love to see, actually, if anyone watching saw this water in these huge rains, or even anyone at FC, if anyone could send an image of how high this water was in those big rains, I'd be super interested to know, because this is half hippo depth now. Lion Lloyd UK. Hello, Lion Lloyd UK. I will read it. Thank you. The giraffe do not like to go into water unless they have to. With their very long legs, they're very unstable. You've been on a game capture with a runaway giraffe that ran into a dam and unfortunately ended up drowning, as it was not able to walk around easily because of the water resistance on its legs. It kept falling over. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Thank you for sharing that. See, that is how I like to get my information, Lion Lloyd. You saw that happen to a giraffe. That's how I like information these days. And if I haven't seen it, I very rarely say it. But if you've seen it, brilliant. So that, everyone, is why giraffes do not like going in water, because they've got very long, thin legs, instability. They do. We have seen, even on these cameras, we've seen giraffes crossing water, but yeah, didn't enjoy it. See, look, it looks like this. Look at the sand around the edge of this pan. It almost looks like this water level is higher than. It's currently lower than it usually is, which is surprising, but it is amazing how quickly floodwaters recede after those heavy rains we had in this area. Oh, I don't know if I've told. Have I told any? No, I haven't been here for a while. I'm actually going to ask anyone. Has anyone else out there had any pepper ticks, or rather, tell me your thoughts about pepper ticks? Because I've got a story, but I want to hear everyone else's stories first. How do you feel about pepper ticks, everyone? Pepper ticks, for anyone that doesn't know, they're a phase of normal ticks, and they are the size of a pinhead. So please send in your stories about pepper ticks. Oh, Limbury, thank you for the update, Limbury. A Serendella water went down the spillway. A tree fell down. A tree fell down on the left there. Okay. That is a huge tree that has fallen over. I just noticed that. Thank you for pointing that out, Limbury. But yeah, amazing how it comes up. You can see this is still sort of wet where it has been yeah, this was much higher. What's that? Oh, it's a terrapin. But it's amazing how quickly these waters recede again. Hangwani, yes, this hippo is very much alive. He has had a lovely roll around. There have been some hippos found in some interesting locations here where they don't normally occur. Chief Neripuri, I hope I've said that right, Chief Neripuri. I apologise if I've got it wrong. You're asking, is it possible that the hippo was dismissed from the group? Possibly. I would say that this is probably a male, and males do get kicked out of their pods or family groups by a dominant bull. But we've been seeing this hippo in here for a while. I'm assuming it's the same hippo. But there's been lots of hippo movement over the last month or so because of these super high rains. And yeah, there's been some hippos turning up in interesting locations. It could be Chief. Let me try and say this properly again. Neripuri. That this hippo was booted at some point from his family group, but we've been seeing. I'm assuming this same hippo. Been seeing him here for a while. I would love to get confirmation if it is the same hippo, but yeah, the hippos have been all over the place recently. Lots of fences have been washed down, so there's been lots of interesting hippo movement. Derek Shearer, you are asking, why do the birds keep pecking on the giraffes' necks? You've seen this a lot. Does it not cause skin infections? These birds pecking on the giraffes' necks are picking for ticks. I assume the ones that sort of stand sort of sideways-ish. They've got sort of flat feet. It looks like someone's almost thrown them and stuck them on the animal. They've got zygodactylous feet, which means they can grip nicely. They're feeding on ticks on the giraffe. They will be looking for the bigger ticks that are not pepper ticks. They're feeding on the blood in the ticks. If we're talking about oxpeckers, they can cause skin infections. Let's go across to Tembe. I would love to have a look and see what's happening there. I will continue telling you about ticks, and we might even see some. We might even see some across there. They're feeding on the ticks, but they're after the blood. Look, we've got swimming elephants. And it does sometimes, not so much skin infections. They can keep wounds open because they're feeding on the blood on those wounds, so it doesn't necessarily cause an infection. But if there is an open wound is more likely to get infected than if there was no wound there. So indirectly, possibly. See, I don't answer anything anymore, do I? But those birds will sometimes tick, 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 tick. They will feed on ticks on many animals. Giraffes, often very popular, all the way down to impala. They will also pick on ticks on anything, really. If they can get away with it and the animal's got ticks, they will get involved there. James Hottam. Hello, James Hottam. All is well here. Kelly, the voice of the waterhole. Hello to you too. I said I wasn't going to talk too much for this show because it must be an onslaught to your ears after so many quiet nature days. So I'm going to shush just for a second and give you all a chance to take a breath. Okay, we are back here at Aldonio with little, it's not little, it's still a few tons of elephants stood in the middle there. And lots of doves. I've seen lots and lots of butterflies here as well at Aldonio from time to time. Hello, Julio. Welcome. I'm delighted you are watching from Zimbabwe, Harare. You are very, very welcome, and thanks for checking in. It's lovely to hear. It's such a gift to be able to share this with everyone all over the world. Okay, ticks. Ugh. I've got a story, but first of all I'm going to Duncan, you're asking how long
best sighting I've presented. I found myself with wild dogs. We chased the dogs around, chased them around. They ate an impala. We got the end of that. Then another impala went into Gowrie Dam down the road there, and the wild dogs went around. Eventually the impala came close to the bank. One wild dog went and grabbed it and then just pulled it out and just did what wild dogs do. It was an emotional experience, but it was very, very special. Wow, that's amazing, everybody. We'll see you there.
Oh, have a look at this.
Wow, wow, wow.
I don't know where to look. This is too astounding for words.
Unreal.
This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
Nature is just everything.
We will be extending the show by a few minutes.
A fascinating animal that kind of draws people to it.
We'll see you out on the safari.
my stomach. They've gone up my stomach, up my back, into my armpits, down my arms, across my feet, down my legs. It was horrendous, and I thought maybe I'd got them all off quickly enough to get away with it, but the sort of 4 o'clock the following morning I woke up absolutely covered. And I tried over-the-counter antihistamines and some after-bite cream. They did not do anything. So I actually ended up after I took myself to the hospital, and I was given steroids. And we had a count up, and we stopped counting at 150 bites. Between my toes, between my fingers. The only place that wasn't bitten was my face. It was deeply unpleasant, and I said earlier, I haven't really spent much time outside. I'm too scared at the moment. I've now got some gum boots. I briefly walked outside to water something the other day, and I pulled 3 pepper ticks off my feet, despite the gum boots. So yeah, I've been hiding indoors for quite a while. That's not easy to say. The Almquist, I can't say that properly. The Almquist. Some folks are definitely more attracted to ticks than others, like midges. Yeah, I've never, in the bush, you kind of, I don't get used to it, but you expect, 6 or 10 bites or something, and you pick them off and they itch and you get over it. But it was it was traumatic. I was miserable. I was waking up every 2 hours and jumping under a freezing cold shower to take some itch off. But yeah, anyone in this area, be very careful. But anyone not in this area, be aware of your tick load and be careful if you're out, depending on what time of year it is where you are. But yeah, I've been deeply traumatised by the experience, and I'm tiptoeing outside now, and I come back in and I get a torch and I'm checking between my toes with tweezers. It's not pleasant. Let's head across to Tau, see what is happening over there, and leave these elephants enjoying. Oh, lovely. I've just got a clip of some water levels at Serendella that I'd love to have a look at. See, here, oh no, there wasn't so much rain up at Tau. Lots of busy elephants. How long can ticks survive underwater? If they're wallowing on animals, my brain has gone straight to the family that they're in, which is the from the arachnid family. I know ticks from the arachnid family. Pepper ticks are the larval stage. I'm not sure, without double checking, the breathing mechanisms of the larval stage of ticks. I know detached ticks could survive up to a few hours in a swimming pool, which suggests to me that they could survive for quite a long time underwater if they were attached to an animal. But yeah, I'm not going to cheat, but it's a really interesting question. I'm actually going to make a note to do a bit more digging around. I think arachnids, hemolymph, but I'm not sure if larval ticks have the same breathing mechanism as spiders. So let me find out. I'm going to make a note of it because I do want to check. I'm not sure the exact answer to this question, but I know according to the research I did after I scrubbed myself of pepper ticks in a pool, I was too scared to go back in the pool, and research suggested the average feedback I got was about a few hours. So my gut can survive a few hours in a swimming pool. Attached, mature ticks could survive longer than that on a wallowing animal, would be my thought process. Look at these elephants coming in. Look how different their colours are. The one at the front's pale, look like he's been on one of those cow creep roads in the dust, and then the one at the back is much redder, been in some of that lovely iron-rich sand there in Medicre. Rosin George, no thanks. Yeah, it was brutal. And something else. Oh, actually, I'm going to share this. Something that it really gave me a perspective of. Working with dogs and dog stuff, and dogs sometimes have allergies and skin allergies, and we do say, established allergies, could be a food allergy, could be an environmental allergy. If they keep scratching, I do know as a behaviourist that their behaviour might change if they are itchy. We would look at things like that during an assessment, but it gave me an entirely new appreciation for how angry a pet or an animal might be if they are itchy. Like a whole new perspective. I was furious for a week. I was grumpy, I wasn't hungry, I couldn't settle, and I was just generally really, really unpleasant to be around. I was itchy, I was sore, I couldn't get comfortable. So it gave me a whole new perspective on how animals, especially our pet animals, might suffer if they are struggling with allergies and being itchy. And I'm definitely going to take it much more seriously in clients rather than, oh, you know, the dog's itchy, maybe go to the vet and try and work out what it is. Like, I think I said, if your dog is super itchy, they will bite you. And I can totally understand why that would be now. Especially, you know, I understood what was making me itch, what was making me uncomfortable. I knew it was going to finish. I was waiting for steroids to kick in. We have gone back to Aldonio now. Sorry about losing Tao for the time being. But yeah, I took two things away from that experience. Be more careful in the garden. Three things. Be more careful in the garden. Big rains have huge implications around nature and animal numbers. And yeah, itchy animals are highly likely to be angry. Yeah, I was not fun to be around for about a week. It was dreadful. Someone's just... Thank you. So they've just sent me a picture of a tick standing on something and reaching up to grab onto animals. Animal lover, you're asking, once I took steroids, did they just fall off or melt? No, I picked them all off. I picked them all off with tweezers. Well, me and other team members, it wasn't graceful, put it that way. No, I picked them all off, but it was too late. I got them all off. I got the majority off within 2 hours, but it was too late. They'd already bitten me. I still sort of found a few stragglers after a couple of days, but no, they were already off. Animal lover, it was steroids. They gave me steroids. They actually gave me intravenous steroids. They said, "Wow, we've never seen anything like this." To drop the immuno response or subdue my immuno response, but no, they were all gone. I don't know what time frame you've got between them attaching to you and getting them off before they leave an itchy bite. Not much. I boil washed all the bedding. Oh, it was awful. Yeah, I am quite traumatised. Every time I go outside of walls, I check with a torch on feet and legs. Come back in. Hannah. Yeah, maybe, Hannah. You're saying maybe I'll get superpowers, tick woman or tick lady. I'm not sure what those superpowers would be. I'm trying to think. Everything has an ecological usefulness. I'm just trying to think. There's two little spotted flycatchers. No, they're ashy flycatchers outside my window. Got a little nest that I think has been successful. Maybe I will get... Oh, look at these guys. What's going on here? Bit of pushing and shoving going on. If I do, I will be sure to let you know. I'm not sure how useful they'd be though. I could bite really, really hard. They've got very, considering their size, that's an interesting mechanism as well. Consider these pepper ticks. If you want to look online, they're literally like pinheads. They are tiny, and every time I see, I nearly took off a couple of moles. I was like, it's a tick, and I was like, no, that's a mole. I was like, no, it's not. He was like, it's a freckle. No, get it off. But considering how big they are, those mouth parts it's impressive that they can bite with those teeny tiny mouth parts. I'm not sure how useful that would be though. Maybe I'd be able to crack Brazil nuts with my teeth or something. Brilliant. Gavin, you're asking, what's the biggest tick you get? Some of the bont ticks get quite big. I'm not actually sure. There's lots of different species of ticks. I'm not sure which of our species here are the biggest. Bont ticks are fairly common, and they get quite large when they've fed. But I'm not sure what technically is the biggest tick we get here. But if we get close enough, giraffes, buffalo, probably one of the easiest animals. They're the two animals that are easiest to see ticks on. You can see even on these cameras, even from this distance, if you look closely and you've got a really high resolution screen, you can see ticks on giraffes. But they bloat. They're much smaller. Most of the ticks I've seen here, before they feed, I'm trying to think of a comparison. I've never seen a tick bigger than a sort of, not even a centimetre, unfed, but they do bloat quite big when they're fed, when they're filled up with blood. I think is it red-legged ticks? I used to know all the subfamilies of the ticks, but I can't remember them now. There's many different. Would ticks be subspecies of each other? I suppose. Is it a blue tick? I can't remember. I'm guessing, Gavin. I don't want to guess publicly. I'm not sure what the biggest tick is that we find here, or indeed if there's any other bigger ticks in any areas of the world. So someone asked earlier, does this water hole or does this pan dry up? You see just on the left there, those sticks. I would guess that's probably where maybe the pump is housed or something like that. So this is a man-made spot. Oh, I've weirded myself out now talking about that again. I'm feeling like this thing's crawling on me. Let's leave these boys having a happy drink here and head across to Zimbabwe. Looking nice and lush here. I've only spent one night ever in Wangi, and I was with my very, very good friend from the UK. We did a trip up there, and every time I hear Wangi, it makes me think of that night we spent there, and it was a barn owl shouting very, very loudly, very close to our room, and she was completely freaked out. If anyone doesn't know what a barn owl, it sounds like they're from not the technical term, but they're from the screech owl family. I can't remember what the technical term for it is, but there's different groups of owls that make different sounds, and the barn owl sounds quite terrifying if you don't know what it is. And I spent quite a lot of time pacifying her, telling her it's just an owl and not to worry. That's what springs to mind every time I think of Wangi Safari Park, or Safari Lodge, or Reserve, or not Safari Park. Apologies. It's definitely not Safari Park. Gail, you are saying elephants must be covered in ticks and they just don't know it. Surprisingly, elephants actually often have fewer ticks than some of the others. They've got very, very thick skin, so maybe that makes it more difficult for the ticks to grab a hold. They're very crinkled, and they spend lots and lots of time covered in dust and mud. Surprisingly, those sort of buffaloes, but they often have very high tick loads. But if you think about it, giraffes, not so much. And if you ask me, I once read this statistic somewhere that buffaloes can carry up to 8,000 ticks, often around their tummies and their elbows, even though we do often see, especially those old boys. Looked like a heron coming into land there. Those old boys in mud, and we do not often. Buffaloes don't technically sort of purposely bathe in mud. We're gonna hop across to Founders. Looks like it's a little bit fuzzy here. Looks like snow in Zimbabwe. Back to Founders here. Rhinos also carry ticks, despite the fact that they do mud bathe as well. But we often say a standard response to why do elephants cover themselves with mud? We say it's to help with ectoparasites, and a tick is an ectoparasite. Maybe that's what I should have done. Maybe as soon as I found myself covered, no, I would have rather pulled them off. And I haven't got anywhere appropriate for mud, but that's exactly what animals are doing. If they cover themselves with mud, the mud goes dry, then they scratch that off. They're suffocating those ectoparasites. Suffocating. If they can suffocate them with mud, do they also suffocate with water? Interesting. Maybe this is why rhinos, also to cool themselves off, maybe this is why they lie like this in water, to suffocate off the ticks. Oh God, I'm talking about ticks too much. Sorry, I'm still a little bit obsessed. Let's move away from the tick discussions. It's freaking me out. This is better, Jerome. You've got an eagle owl hanging around your place and you hear it at night. Hoo hoo. Yeah, I love those owl sounds. Hoo hoo hoo. Or is that the rose? No, that is the spotted eagle owl. Hoo hoo hoo. We have got comments around the ticks. Sam is, you use mayonnaise for lice. Is that to get them off or to pacify the itch? And also Vaseline. No, they were. I was not waiting for those things. I wouldn't have had enough Vaseline. They were coming off. It's really weirding me out. Actually, I'm still quite traumatized. They do say Vaseline, or I know for dogs there's to pull the big ticks off, there's like tick removers. Anyone who does walk their dogs and gets ticks on them, make sure you get your dog comfortable with those tick removing tools. But no, these things were tiny and they were not staying on me. But it's actually really weirded me out. clearly carrying quite a lot of concern about that. Yeah, it's making me uncomfortable just talking about it. No. Oh wow. Sarah, your friend's dog licked your lips once and your face ballooned up and you ended up in hospital for the day. Had to have 2 days off work. I've got no idea what might have caused that, whether or not they'd been eating something, or no, I'm not sure what that would have been. Yeah, allergic reactions are a funny one. They're dangerous. They're actually very dangerous in humans and in animals. So yeah, well done for getting that, or doing the right thing, Sarah UK. You did it right. Fortunately, I have never ended up in a hospital when a dog has licked my face, because it happens regularly. And I say that without shame. But yeah, let's move away from the ticks conversation. I'm sat quite still and it's making me want to move around and check between my toes and stuff. But yeah, maybe I am going to investigate further the breathing mechanisms of ticks to see if they are the same as other stuffs in the arachnid family. But maybe this is one of the reasons rhinos as well to cool themselves down. Are drowning their ticks, are drowning their ectoparasites, possibly. But yeah, giraffes do not, as we discussed earlier, giraffes do not sit in water. They do not dust bathe. They do not, like we often see zebras or wildebeest, they don't roll around in the dust. So maybe that is one of the reasons they have such high tick loads. See, this is why I really enjoy this time I spend with everyone that's listening, because it makes me think, it makes me consider things that I haven't considered before. It's great being able to learn with everyone else that's out there listening, and to know that everyone else is interested in learning too. And you never, ever stop learning. This looks like a great way to spend a Saturday, actually. I think these rhinos have got it right. But yes, our weather here has stabilised. We're back up into the sort of low 30s, which is lovely. We were actually saying a couple of days ago how we have had some very hot days, but it doesn't feel like this summer has been quite as traumatic, with weeks, 10 days up in the mid 40s, which isn't uncommon for this area. There's still lots of, well, there's going to be clean-up operations going on for quite some time to come, I think. But I'm actually going to have a let's go across to Safari Hook. I am just going to quickly have a look at this link that was sent. Okay, I'm just looking at the water levels. Oh look, we've got a springbok. I'm just having a look at this water levels at Serendella. It's actually fascinating to be able to compare water levels here. And you see the topography here as well at Safari Hook. Look at all this lovely green here now. Yeah, that's where the trees. I'm sorry, I'm just watching a clip quickly. The water did drain out of that Serendella pan. Obviously, a well thought out design, but it comes up quickly and drops just as quickly. Jaden, I am going to read this out. It's going to embarrass me, but I'm going to read it out anyway. You always mix up Springboks, Thompsons, and Grant's gazelles. Right. I have tried on multiple occasions to be able to explain the difference between a gazelle and an antelope, and I have unsuccessfully been able to do it, because a Thompson's gazelle and a Grant's gazelle are gazelles, and I can't do it. I've practiced before explaining the differences between gazelles and antelope, and I failed. If you stood those three animals in front of me, I would probably also mix them up, Jaden. So you are not alone. I've rarely seen, maybe not really. I've spent time with Springbok, not lots, but the areas I've normally operated in are not normally full of Springbok. I have never seen a Thompson's or a Grant's gazelle. The only time I've really spent time watching them is when they're getting chased by something that's going to eat them. So Jaden, you are not alone. But yeah, I've researched, because I've been asked many times what's the difference between an antelope and a gazelle, and I've checked it repeatedly, and I've not retained that information. These Springbok they're actually beautiful antelope. They've got lovely markings with that characteristic very, very white underbelly, believed for thermoregulation. Some say that stripe adds a bit of a breakup of the body shape for disruptive coloration, so predators, it's believed the predators can't see that body. There's also theories behind thermoregulation in different fur colour.
My name is Amy, and behind the camera with me is Paul. And I mean, to be able to share it with all of you. Fingers crossed, and I'll make sure I wear my lucky leopard socks as well.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
My full name is Mpho Muthusi Tikani. I grew up in Soweto. My first animal that I filmed said to dog. Okay, no, wait. My first animal that I filmed, I think it was an impala. Best sighting ever, I would say it was actually this year, 2024. But it was this Cedric when we had Mulwati and TP on a warthog kill. I think we have to cut it.
Look at this. Wow, that's amazing, everybody. We'll see you there. Oh, have a look at this.
Wow, wow, wow.
I don't know where to look. It's too astounding for words.
Unreal.
This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
Nature is just everything.
We will be extending the show by a few minutes.
A fascinating animal that kind of draws people to it.
We'll see you out on the safari.
Absolutely wonderful camera work, but the base of the front of that, oh, I'm all itchy again now, I've freaked myself out with a TikTok. Different to a TikTok, and different from TikTok. Sorry, I'm rambling. The base of that front horn, you can see the texture of it. You can see that it's almost fibrous. Keratin, it's not bone. You can see where it sort of lifts and breaks into almost like fibres. But look how smooth that front horn is. And if it lifts, and I often talk about this, but I think it's very, very cool to know. If this rhino lifts his nose up again, or mouth, the edges, go and show us your nose. See the edges of those nostrils? They're like velvet. They're very, very soft. Oh, hi, we've got is that a dusky flycatcher? That's a flycatcher of some description. Or is it a wagtail? No, it might be a wagtail, my bad. The edges of these rhino noses, sort of the edge of the nostrils, is very, very soft. I worked on a project where rhinos were anaesthetised and we were told to monitor their breathing by basically feeling it with our hands. Jen, you're asking, do any antelopes change colour for the different seasons? Not that I'm aware of here, Jen. I think that massive, vast colour change of coat colour is often more regions that get snow. I could be completely wrong for camouflage, but it's either brown or green here. So no, I'm not aware of any colour changing antelope, not in this region. Erica, you are saying it's almost as if we can see bone under the horn. It does look like it, but rhino horn is most definitely not bone. It's not bone coated with anything. It's a complete structure in its own right. And much as I hate to talk about it or make anyone think about it, if you saw this rhino skull, so after death, there would be no bumps on it. If you wanna check, have a look online. Rhino skull, they actually look quite bizarre. Because there is no horns left. It's the front of that face is completely flat and rounded. So rhino, these horns, it's the same as our hair. If you chopped loads of hair off and squished it all together really, really tight, it's basically rhino horn. It's nails. It's the same as our fingernails. There was actually a story. Should I say that? There was a story of, I can't remember where it was or when it was, people gathering nail clippings and sending them somewhere in protest protest about the poaching of rhinos. Basically a statement that rhino horn is the same as nails, and someone sent bags and bags and bags of nail clippings to somewhere, I can't remember where it was. You could, if I had the time and this rhino let me, which was very unlikely, and I had a good enough nail file, I could nail file those horns off. That would be a massive job though. This project where I got to fill the rhino's nose, there's various projects where chips are inserted into rhino horn, and the only way to get it in there is to drill. And They use the drill. I've only ever been to one rhino dehorning, and I haven't been back since. I found it quite distressing, actually. But if these horns are worked on with a drill or a saw or anything else under any of those conditions, you could smell. If anyone's ever leant over a flame or a cooker and singed your hair, it smells exactly the same. When heat and friction builds up, if a horn is being removed or drilled, it smells exactly the same as when you stupidly lean over a flame and singe your hair, or even your eyelashes or eyebrows. It smells the same. It smells like burning hair. But look how smooth the tip of this horn is. Very, very smooth. But rhino horns do keep growing. So maybe this individual doesn't want a long spiky horn for whatever reason. Like keeping your nails under control, I guess. See, when else would you be able to get this close to a snoozing rhino and not even disturbing them? I've always said to guests, as guides, before we do a game drive or a walk, we do what we call a briefing, and it's just to give people a bit of information about what's going to happen, some safety stuff, a little bit of information. And part of my briefing before a drive has always been, my objective is to show you animals that are doing exactly what they would be doing if we weren't present. We never want to, wherever possible, we don't want to change the behaviour, we don't want to adjust the behaviour, we don't want to have any impact on an animal in any way, shape or form. It's not always possible, because ultimately we are there. But that's why I enjoy this so much. We are literally showing you animals doing exactly what they would be doing if we weren't there, because we're not there. I'm going to be interested to see how long this rhino stays put. It could be some time, but in the meantime, let's go across to Tau. We had some animals there before. Got interspersed kudu and impala here. Is that with an elephant back? Is that a young male kudu or I can't quite see. Lots of this vegetation's got long here at Tau. We did find, is it last year? I think I spent a long time identifying the yellow flowers, and they turned out to be one of the species of sunflowers. I thought that kudu looked wet then. Again, lots of different species around at Tau, but that's fairly standard. This waterhole is always pumping with activity. Jacob, thank you. I will read out what you have sent. The protest originated in 2012 when South African artist and filmmaker Mark Willoughby sent his toenail clippings to the embassy in Pretoria. So yes, that was probably what I was thinking of. Thank you for clarifying. I do sometimes have these things. What's going on here? Why is everyone freaking out? Is this these impalas? Oh, I think it's these male impalas being disruptive. Or is it? But yes, thank you, Jacob. I do sometimes store these things in my brain and I often can't remember where they came from. But that sounds about right. Why is this lovely male kudu there? See that nose in the air, chin up. See, that would have been, someone was asking earlier, have I ever seen antelope species fight? A different species fight. That's pretty much the closest I've seen to fighting antelope species. That that wasn't a fight, that was an impala chasing stuff around that also inadvertently chased the kudu. That's fairly typical. Looking a little bit flighty though. That kudu's looking a bit perturbed by something. Let's go to Lentor, or Lentore, I'm never quite sure how to say it. The place with a cool level camera angle. We've had some lovely, it's a little bit buzzy, but I love that I think this is probably one of my favourite cameras because of that angle. You feel like you're nice and low right in the water there, with the water's edge quite close by. I think I almost want to say, I don't know if this is a grey heron or a juvenile black-headed heron. I'm not entirely sure. I am going to check this because I would like to know. See what a juvenile. I think this is a. Wait, let me check. You'd have thought I'd have been able to identify a grey heron by now, wouldn't you? But I like to. It doesn't look, it looks very, very dark for a grey heron to me. I'd like to see a picture of it. Thank you, camera people. Yeah, I feel like this is a juvenile black-headed heron, I think. Anyone that disagrees, please do let me know. But that neck, along the back of the neck. So, juvenile black-headed herons have got some food. Yeah, I think this is a juvenile black-headed heron. Orange bottom mandible there. Juveniles have a greyer crown and hind neck than adults, usually with buff or orange suffused throat, similar to a juvenile grey heron. Right, okay, let's go and check juvenile grey heron. Oh, come on, birds. Juvenile grey herons have yellowish legs. But this throat looks more like a juvenile. Oh, thank you, that's right. Hold on, we got eyes then. That will help. Whitish ear coverts. Have you got whitish ear coverts? Are they black eyes or yellow? Yellow eyes. Please feel free to jump in, anyone. If this is if I'm looking at a black heron or a grey heron. See, it does. This is black-headed herons, juvenile black-headed herons have more of a... No, I think this is a oh, I'm not sure. I don't know which one this is. Team, watchers, viewers, help me out. I'm looking at those little black edges to the wings that a black-headed heron has. It just the spots on the throat look so juvenile. I don't know which one this is. Feel free to get involved. As I always say, this is a discussion, not a lecture. The back, hey, whatever it is, it's just got some food. Its back and neck just look too dark to me to be a grey heron. Let me ask someone else as well. Because black-headed herons do turn spotty on their necks as their feathers change. That is a glorious image. Melanistic marble. This is a beautiful image. I just wish I could confirm. Which one it was for you? I am digging around to try and find out. Okay, I'm getting a good shout for a grey heron. Okay, I've got another solid shout for a grey heron. I just felt like that back was too dark. Okay, it seems we're having solid shouts for... Oh, okay. We've also got a shout for a juvenile great blue heron. Black-headed heron. Okay, we're getting various shouts. Now, I've actually got... Wait, let me... I want to check regional. I'm going to have to get my Big Bird Book Bible out. Like, you would just say grey heron, but just looking at it, it just felt weird. But I've just had a fairly reliable shout for a grey heron. I'm gonna go to herons in my Sub-Saharan Africa bird book and see if this gives any other... See, they're definitely black legs. Those legs are black, not yellow. It's good. I actually spend quite a lot of time with a very good birder, and I can get sloppy and just assume. And sometimes the first guess was correct, but it's really, really good practice to question decisions. Why? Why is this what makes this a grey heron and not a black-headed heron? Or vice versa, who knows? See, I'm swinging back to grey now. Okay, this does actually look like it has a much darker back. And there is actually a little tweak of yellow at the top of those thighs there as well. Okay, I'm sticking with... Let's go grey. Oh, if it opened his wings, that could tell us. This book I've got in front of me now. I tell you what, other than the legs though, see my book, the book I've got in front of me, a juvenile black-headed heron has black all the way up the back, along the back of the neck, and all the way across to the head. And this juvenile grey heron is dark but there's a little gap between the top of the back of the neck and the head that turns into a dark cap again. If I was forced to say, I'd probably stick with go grey. Tennis, you're saying if it's next to the water it will most probably be a grey heron. They are. Oh look, we've got a baboon joining in. Okay. It is very much the most probable and likely explanation. But it's good to ponder these things. This bird has got slight yellow on the top of its thighs there. Okay, thank you Zoomies for doing an excellent job. I know it's really zoomed in, but that slight orange tinge there on the top of its legs does definitely swing towards a grey heron. Hold on, I've got another shot now. It's definitely a grey-blue heron. What's a grey-blue heron? Yeah, the top of those thighs. It just, yeah, and there's ever such a slight white. This is brilliant camera work. Thank you so much for helping me so nicely. Brilliant camera work, people. And there's no, I was looking for an orange tinge. Look, he's posing so nicely. There's no orange tinge around the edge of those speckles either. So if I had to put money on it, well, I wouldn't put money on it. I would probably swing towards, but the slight white at the front, yeah, the white at the front of the thighs is forcing me to grey heron. And the lack of any sort of buff around the front of that streaking on the front of the chest. Right, okay, let's go grey heron. But good fun. It could be a never seen before hybrid. It does happen. But yeah, okay, the slight yellowing on the tops of the thighs there confirms a grey heron. But good fun, team. Thank you for your participation in this activity.
Wild Earth Travel has a green season special just for South Africans. Explore Botswana's Okavango, a remarkable mosaic of delta and savanna teeming with wildlife. Stay in elegant, luxurious tented camps deeply connected to the wilderness. Discover the Okavango on exciting game drives and tranquil boat journeys. Share stories beneath the stars, remembering what it means to safari through Africa's wild south. Wild Earth Travel. We're waiting for your call.
My full name is Mpho Tikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and yeah, you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I went to Camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, and I'm very fast.
Yes! Wow, that's amazing, everybody! We'll see you there. Oh, have a look at this.
Wow, wow, wow.
I don't know where to look. It's too astounding for words.
Unreal.
This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
Nature is just everything.
We will be extending the show by a few minutes.
A fascinating animal that kind of draws people to it.
We'll see you out on the safari.
So let's just move on. That looked like two young baboons practicing to me. Alison Taylor, I agree that heron was very, very beautiful, and I also think he liked his reflections, and quite rightly so. Look. I love watching this. Has a bit of bark or something that little one was holding on to then. Oh, gotta grab it. No. Okay, it still looks wobbly. Oh, it's making me think of ticks. That's what I look like. Nudie, you say they remind you of Benjamin Button, that little old man. I can see that. See, look. I'm gonna pick the thing up and maybe take it over here. And I love watching animals reason, but we're never quite gonna know. This is why I enjoy watching baboons, monkeys so much. Just give his friend a little shove. Oh, he's found his bit of bark. Is he going to want it back? Give me that back. No, he's taking it. Look, he's taking his thing. Don't care. Find another one. What's he doing up there? What you got? Oh no, we've lost the little baboons at Lentori. Oh no, let's stay here for a minute. This is cool. Some gorgeous crowned cranes. These are stunning birds. See, I know what these are. And Maori storks, again. Know what they are. This Marabou stork on the right is looking, can I say a Marabou stork looks really good? He looks like healthy and regal, and I've got quite fond of Marabou storks recently. Maybe it's just maybe it's the sunlight hitting them. That's messy drinking. But lovely to see these crowned cranes. I'm just trying to think if I've ever seen a crowned crane in real life either. Everyone having a drink there. I don't know if one of those cranes is going to hop. Are you going to drink over the side? I was just watching to see if that I say I've never seen a crane drink, I don't think. Gorgeous, gorgeous birds though. Big birds. They stand up to a metre, but overshadowed by these enormous marabou storks. Lovely seeing them feeding in the background there. Hannah, I like this. I like this comment a lot. You feel the same way I do. You say marabou storks always seem apologetic to be seen. That's kind of how I feel. What grew my affection for marabou storks was actually watching them at the vulture feeding station on these cameras, and the way they would sort of they'd hustle around and they're like, oh sorry, can I just, do you mind if I'm just gonna, they're big powerful birds. They could have just steamed in and like picked up the bits of stuff, but yeah, they came across as apologetic. I like that a lot, Hannah. Thank you for helping to define where my current affinity with marabou storks has come from, but this is such a special treat to see these crowned cranes. Very, very nice. I would love to go and finish up today's session with those baboons at eye level. I want to see if that little one got his stick back from his buddy, or maybe not his buddy, maybe a sibling, maybe not. Wildlife Lady, you're saying, I'm glad you enjoyed today's live at the Waterhole show. And yes, I also say thank you to FC and the Zoomies. Thank you very much, Zoomies, especially for that lovely stuff with the rhino close up and for humouring my struggles around herons. Much appreciated. Melanistic Marble, hello Melanistic Marble. It's a pleasure. I'm glad you could join us. Lovely to see these baboons. James G, you're asking, marabou storks the biggest of the storks? Yes, they're huge. They're possibly one of the tallest birds here. I'm just scrabbling through my brain. Yeah, they're enormous. Absolutely enormous. But thank you all so much for joining today. I hope my gabbling hasn't been too much of a shock to your ears after the beautiful sounds of nature. But thank you all so much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you along. We hope to see you again very soon. Keep watching these cameras and stay safe out there. All the best. Bye bye.